possible that it could mean a lot of different things to people, but typically it's used in association with efforts to tailor-make things around a person. And typically it could be either services or lifestyle. So when something gets personalized, it's sort of made to fit them really well. It's a very interesting question, why it's important. And part of it is it's important because of the history of people not treating people with disabilities like they're fully human. And so in that sense, people may lack a sense of obligation to treat people in a full sense as being equal to or like other people. And so in this sense, the personalization's attempt to restore to people some kind of respect for their personhood, who they are as a person, and place emphasis on it, and to, in many ways, place the person back in the driver's seat of their own life. So in this sense, it's really a remedy for a range of dehumanizations that have happened over the centuries, really, with people with disabilities. So in this sense, on a moral level, it's personalization is the attempt to restore to people their rights, their dignity, their respect, their sort of control of their life, and that their wishes and intentions for themselves and their priorities have some kind of consequence that's meaningful. And why that is a significant thing is because they don't get that often. People with disabilities are more likely to be done to rather than done with, in the sense of people partnering with them. And so in this sense, it doesn't really matter often what the person themselves with the disability wants or needs or thinks is important. In the power dynamics of so many situations, it's what other more powerful people think is what counts, not the person with the disability. So personalization is in this sense a form of restoring of empowerment to people, or normative empowerment, and at the same time a recognition of their uniqueness as a person, their unique needs, their unique interests, passions, priorities, and whatnot. The same thing you would expect with anyone. Well, in the disability sector, it has become important because it has proved that many of the early reformers were right, that people with disabilities had vastly more potential than people gave them credit for, and it also has confirmed that the low expectations held for people with disabilities have been misguided, and in effect have served to be quite oppressive to people with disabilities. So in this sense, it's kind of a consequence of the efforts of reform going back now at least several generations, starting out really in many ways with the elimination of the big institutions, and then to move to the smaller institutions. And personalization is really the next logical experiment with reform, to take it actually to the level of an individual, so that you have lifestyles and supports for a person that are one person at a time, and ultimately one satisfied life or not at a time. Because if one is good at personalization, then you get things just right for the person. If you're not so good, you may be meaning well, but you could lift your game, so to speak, in terms of doing much better. So in this sense, personalization isn't something that's either present or not, because there's quite a bit of degree to the question of, is this really working well for a particular person? But if the intent is to make things go well for an individual, then what you have is a kind of a new deal almost between people that are trying to support people and the person, where good faith efforts are made to get the shoe that fits or the life that fits for the person.